Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to Fun Speculation Podcast, episode number 97. Getting
Almost
there, guys. Almost there. Three away from 100. Looking forward to our 100th episode of FSP coming up in a few weeks. I was thinking, I had a busy day, so I was thinking about maybe not having this show just because I had so much stuff going on, but you know what? There's just too much conversation to be had today. Oh, such important things to talk about because games journalists said something. So I set the internet on fire when games journalist talks negatively about Xbox. So, you know, we got to try and pat everybody on the back and tell them everything's going to be okay again. So we got to do that tonight here on Fun Speculation Podcast. Also, more handheld news coming from Xbox as well, because Phil Spencer actually spoke, which is actually, I think, more informational and good things to talk about than the other nonsense. However, one thing completely contradicts the other. It's super interesting, this world we live in regarding Xbox, when you have executives saying one thing and then games journalists saying another, and, you know, one actually is in charge of Xbox, one is just always overly concerned about Xbox. Weird, you know, but we're gonna talk about it all, and we're gonna have a blast in this conversation. Thanks to everybody here in the chat hanging out as always on all of our shows. Appreciate you guys so much, and we're gonna have some fun with this show because, man, you know, I see JMO Money says, sad that constantly have to keep telling the community to chill the F out. King was right, way too many mustard hearts out here. Man, it's like how insecure the Xbox community and the games media can be sometimes regarding Xbox. But, you know, it is what it is. Just relax. What's up, Fuzz? How you doing, man?
I'm doing fine. It's bizarro world out there on Twitter, and it seems to be only Twitter. I don't even bother with Facebook, but you know, people that
actually talk gaming news on Facebook. I don't even know. Is that a thing?
Well, there are still clubs that I used to be a part of, like for the Division and for Forza Horizon and stuff. But most people are just like, hey, I'm still enjoying Forza Horizon 5 and whatever other game. Like a lot of people are enjoying Dragon's Dogma despite all the controversy behind that. But, you know, if you live in the Twitter bubble, of course, this gaming media is just going to make everything seem like it's a, you know, dire emergency when we got games to play and more games coming out the middle of the year and more showcases about games and an actual roadmap, you know, not just for software, but for hardware too. So I don't know. I'm kind of chilled out, but I'm pretty sure I'll get into a rant mode later.
Yeah, man. I'm looking forward to a fuzzy rant. We'll have to make a fuzzy rant emoji eventually here for the channel. 3-Bit, what's up, man? How you doing?
Pretty good. It's been like a hectic, crazy weekend, but it's going pretty good for me. I've been in work mode. I haven't gotten to play a lot of games this week, sadly, but I'm hoping I could play some Dragon's Dogma this week. But yeah, as usual, you know, we come up here and we kind of read through these apparent tea leaves of conversation of people saying that Xbox is gonna die, and then we're like, here's why it's not gonna die.
Just in the hardware department. Just hardware.
It's in the hardware.
Yeah.
Right. So we'll get into that for sure. And see, Poison called me 3 block. That's really 3 block. Go. Appreciate that. But no, it's gonna be a good show. I'm sure we have a lot of good conversations coming up. So you know what? Let's get into it. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be a blast. So much fun things to discuss. I know real actual like still, you know, this year there hasn't been a lot of like gaming news, right? There's been like gaming conversation. right? Like about the ins and outs, microtransactions, or like, oh, did this person said this, or sources say, or I know
Yeah.
someone who said this, or I have a feeling that this is going to happen. This is like what this year's been filled with so far, so much, and like so much of all of that has been negativity towards Xbox this year, right? Meanwhile, you have um a second half of the year that's looking to be maybe one of the best periods of time in the history of Xbox, especially when it comes to game releases and all that kind of stuff, and actually kind of starting in less than 2 months away with the release of Hellblade 2, which we kind of talked about on Xbox Ultimate on Friday. And I feel like it's like every week there's like this new conversation. Well, first it's like, hey, games are going multi-platform. Oh, hey, Starfield's gonna go. Hey, also, Gears of War is gonna go. Everything's gonna go to other platforms, and then Xbox has to hold our hands and do like a business update event and tell us exactly what's going on. Say, hey, community, chill out a little bit. This is what's happening. It's maybe a lot of you aren't gonna like it, but here's what the plan is, or what we're thinking. Then you have now Dragon's Dogma 2 comes out, and fantastic game, and then the conversation's all about other things about the game instead of the actual greatness of the game. But it is what it is as well. I think most of us here on this channel have been really enjoying our time with Dragon's Dogma 2, and luckily none of us have gotten the whatever the infection is that infects the pawns. I forget what it's called, but yeah, there's like a virus within the world of Dragon's Dogma.
COVID.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's a crazy gameplay mechanic. Shout out to Jez, who had actually wrote an article about it, warning people, like, because it can actually fuck up your playthrough. Like, they actually have like a virus, not like a computer virus, but like a virus where your pawns can get sick, and it spreads from one to the other. And if you hire somebody's pawn from their game, it can infect your pawns, and it spreads. And if you don't get it treated or you don't take care of it, they can end up like blowing up a city. It's just absolutely insanity in this game. And if it blows up your city and you have quest lines that are unsolved or needed to be done, they can completely fuck up your play. It's absolutely nuts that this game even has this mechanic, but it does. And in a weird way, I kind of love it, because it's just some crazy nonsense that you have to worry about, right? That's completely original in a game and never seen it before. But at the same time, it's also kind of, well, shit, that would suck if you didn't know anything about it or take care of it, right? But yeah, could you imagine playing for like 100 hours of Dragon's Dogma and then your playthrough get fucked up because you didn't know about a virus that ended up taking over? And yeah.
To me, that's freaking hilarious.
Yeah, it's nuts, man.
I kind of like it too, but I know some people.
It's
also Lotus. Goodness.
Whoa. Coming off the heels of Xbox Ultimate with Lotus Esprit coming out, just absolutely going crazy on that show. Here he is on Fun Speculation Podcast on a Monday with the same kind of energy, hitting us with another Megaton $50 super sticker. Choo choo, motherfucker, Lotus Esprit. I don't have the chops that Pong does, but I'll say what Pong would say.
Spirit with the 50 bomb. The train is running. Yeah, I can't.
Yeah, choo choo, motherfuckers. We're here at a Mach 7 to start the show because of Lotus Esprit. The train itself is Lotus brand, is what it is. It's going to be going fast when it's a Lotus train. Hey, shout out to Lotus Esprit and super generous support. And appreciate you and everybody else being here hanging out for our channel and our show.
Cool. I like that little what is that, a cow that turns into a robot? What is that? It's like a
what the fuck are you talking about, 3-bit?
Like when it sits in that chair
transformer or something,
and then it turns into a transformer.
Oh, the sticker.
Yeah, the sticker. It's like it's like a hippo.
It's a hippo in a chair, and it. That's my Transformers sound. And it turns into a robot. Gotta love it.
Cool.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome, man. Shout out to Keasante, Rusky, Poison Maniac, Luis Jose, Niturnal, Nam Omar, Scorpio, Oh Jesus, so many awesome people here. Fuzzy Logic. Let's see. Talos Ray, Thatch, Truth Serum, Dr. Dinglenut. You know I got soul. I know you do.
What is a choo-choo voice? I don't even know what that is.
The choo-choo voice? It's like Pong's voice, I think. It's like, choo-choo, motherfuckers, let's go. Hey, we're hitting here in the hype train here on Fun Speculation. Keeping it ad-free, and your goal for this channel is now...
Yeah. Our goal for this channel is now 5,043. Let's go, y'all. Let's go.
Absolutely.
I think that's what he meant.
Yeah.
Or is he talking more like this?
I don't think that's a train voice.
It's not.
Your Stitch voice is very similar to your Smeagol voice.
Yeah, it is. I mean, he sounds exactly the same, right?
Yeah, what's
Stitch and Smeagol.
What's the Smeagol?
So, Master's our friend. No, Master betrayed us. Something like that.
That's so good, dude.
And then Stitch is just like, oh, Hannah means family. Family means no one gets left behind or forgotten. Something like that.
It's so good. It's like the same, but it's different. Yeah, it's impressive. This guy is the most talented person I've ever met before in my life. It's really good. So
thank you.
let's get into the Christopher Dring conversation. Okay, so Christopher Dring from GameIndustry.biz was on a podcast or something. I don't know what he was on. I saw the video spreading around. It's some kind of interview or whatever, and he was talking about GDC. He's like, yeah, I met this game developer, publisher, this company that had a big game last year. So automatically I'm trying to think of like the companies that had big games last year, and like one that jumps to mind is like Baldur's Gate 3, right? Possibly, or something like that. And he was like, and this guy was like saying, like, why do we even put our games on Xbox? Because, our audience is PlayStation and PC, and we do all this work to like put the game on Series S. Like, that's another trigger in my mind that like was making me think it maybe was Baldur's Gate 3 because of all the Series S controversy and stuff with Baldur's Gate, right? But who knows what company it was. Supposedly a big company with the big game that came out last year was kind of saying this. And then it kind of prompted Christopher Dring to go on and talk about like, I was looking about Game Pass and how good it is and all these other things, but I never really considered the fact if publishers don't want to put their games on Xbox, that could just be the end of the hardware or whatever. And I think that means really bad for the hardware for Xbox in the future and stuff. And I just immediately thinking to myself, Christopher, what fucking world have you been living in for the last like decade? Where publishers skip Xbox? You think that's a now problem, or considering to skip Xbox is like a now only thing? And if it was Baldur's Gate 3, mind you, they also released on PlayStation first. So that was also a whole thing in and of itself, right? I don't know if it was that game or not. But yeah, that's obviously been a problem for a long time. But then to go and spell the doom of like the Xbox hardware future, it's just kind of like a little bit ignorant to me. Especially on the heels of, was it a month ago when Xbox themselves had Sarah Bond, Matt Booty, and Phil Spencer talk about the future of their hardware. That they actually have more hardware launching this holiday, and also the next generation of Xbox hardware is going to be, according to them, the biggest generational leap ever for a platform or whatever. Then you also have Phil Spencer today in interviews talking about handhelds, and rumors abound about prototypes of Xbox hardware. But yet, all of this stuff is overshadowed because Christopher Dring talked to a publisher who said this. Apparently. And this is where you see a lot of people just. I got this thing in DMs from multiple people. I got people talking about it. I see all over Twitter and all this kind of stuff. I see a lot of conversations and everything. It's like, how many times does Xbox have to like reaffirm or tell people the same thing to get them to understand, as opposed to a random game journalist who happened to talk to somebody that works for a company and their personal feelings, right?
Mhm.
It's kind of like a little bit of insecurity and like just constant need for like, everything's going to be okay, guys. We got you. You know, here's our plans. Here's exactly what we're going to do. And the most transparent company out there over the last 10 years has been Xbox. It's just kind of weird how this conversation always kind of circles back, and it's been like this year is like nonstop, man. But
Yeah.
overall, like start with you 3-bit. I guess like you saw what Christopher Dring had to say. It pales in comparison to, or it's kind of flies in the face of everything that Xbox is saying right now. I mean, there is legitimate concern over like the success of the hardware right now in Europe, right? So you can take that for what it's worth. I don't think it's that different than it was last generation. But anyway, what are you thinking about Xbox, because a publisher at GDC told a journalist this?
I mean, it just goes into, you just look all people have to do is look at the history of what a journalist says or how they say it or phrase things
Their track record.
and their track record. It's just
Yeah.
it's really that simple for me. I'm like, okay, who's saying it? What is their credibility? And I mean, I even have to go that far considering he said like Xbox is thinking about putting less emphasis on Game Pass when clearly they're putting more into Game Pass. Like everything basically contradicts just that small portion of what he said
Yeah.
without me even getting to everything else. Like
Especially when they said everything from ABK is going into Game
yeah,
Pass and reconfirm that, right?
if 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 Xbox putting ABK, all ABK games into Game Pass is less emphasis, then sign me up, because that's pretty good. But no, not even getting into that. Just looking at his track record, it's usually put into light that where whenever something negative happens on PlayStation, it's usually downplayed, or it's like, oh, this thing happened to PlayStation. But when it's
Yeah.
Xbox, if something happened to Xbox, and here's why it's bad for Microsoft and its history and its future. Like that's kind of usually the lens it comes from a lot of these different journalists. And especially like lately with this doom and gloom thing, a lot of the industry is kind of going around because it gets clicks. I mean, he had an article about, unless that was fake, I didn't research if that was real or not, but he had an article on like getting people to click on his articles or something like that. I didn't research his clickbait article thing if that was actually him. So I'm not going to confirm or deny if that was him. But I don't even need to really go into that, because him just a lot of what he's been putting out over the past few years, I just known him to be kind of a disingenuous sort of clickbaity type writer. So I mean, this whole thing where you're mentioning, Mav, where a lot of these publications are really just jumping on negativity. I don't know if I'm just getting older or something, but I'm just starting not to care anymore. Like these things are starting to pop up, and I clearly see what they're doing and how they're trying to get engagement, and it works for a lot of people. They see it and they're just like, oh man, Xbox is dying, and this happens like every 2 weeks. I feel like So it's not like it's a new thing or anything, but this whole thing where Xbox is dead has been happening since its inception almost, it feels like, where Xbox is dying or whatever. I think I think once Xbox put games on other platforms, this is just the result of that. I feel like I already knew a lot of articles are gonna start kind of going towards this route where Xbox is dead now, despite what is actually happening. I mean, we kind of about it behind the scenes. When you are comparing all the studios that have shut down, all the uh basically comparison between Xbox and PlayStation and Nintendo. PlayStation has shut down more studios than Xbox and Nintendo combined.
Yeah.
Yet the articles you get don't resemble that at all. As far as I know, PlayStation is fine. You know, according to how it's being written in journalism. If I didn't actually do my research, or if I didn't actually just think for myself, or just actually know that Xbox is $1 trillion company, they're gonna be fine. Um, and how Xbox is actually just seeing where the industry is headed and just pivoting and trying different things. If I didn't know that stuff, um, then if you're just a casual audience member, you would just think Xbox is dying right now, despite them having a way stronger year in terms of game releases than PlayStation, and despite them having more studios and more in the works and actual kind of like a plan. Meanwhile, PlayStation is struggling to find its footing within, like, constantly canceling studios, trying to figure out if they still want to do this AAA sort of game like they're used to, or their audience is used to, or if they need to start pivoting and go more towards like a multiplayer route, and then they cancel their multiplayer game. So now you're like, okay, well, what's next? You don't really know what PlayStation's roadmap looks like. With Xbox, it's kind of clear where they're going. It's they're looking at where the industry is headed. We'll see if that ends up being the case, but it seems like PlayStation is going doing that too, with putting games on other platforms and stuff. But since Xbox always goes first, you're gonna always get this thing with journalists where Xbox is dead, and then when other people start doing it too, then you won't hear a peep from them. So like when PlayStation will do this too, then you're just like,
Yeah.
oh well, now it's standard, now it's fine. Like this is this constant thing that happens every single time with Xbox. Like when Xbox is
Yeah.
doomed, Xbox is dead, and then PlayStation will do a similar thing, and then you're like, oh well, now it's fine because PlayStation is doing it. It's like, okay, well,
You're
I don't know.
it
That's
is,
just,
it is funny because like for comparison's sake, we have articles about PlayStation, right? But it's usually just the news. Hey, this happened today. Studio closure at blah blah blah, or like another studio closure, or layoffs here, right? This game was canceled by PlayStation, right? It's just like the news, right? And with the Xbox, there's no news. We're concerned about this. That's the Xbox is going to fail, right? Xbox hardware future could be in trouble, or like in podcast conversation from games journalists or whatever, or if they're being interviewed, it's like, yeah, I don't know how, like, what their future looks like over at Xbox. I think it's like they're all there's so much concern troll articles and like worry articles, and like even when it comes to the games at times when they release their games, like, oh, is Starfield really the next big thing? Oh, I already forgot about Starfield. You know what I mean? Or like,
having,
and it's
yeah.
like weird articles all the time. But they're like, here you have actual like news. Okay, creative director from Bungie leaves. Brings in Valorant creative director.
Yeah.
Like all these different
It's
things.
like
It's
the
like just the
actual news
news.
articles are buried.
But like when Halo, like when Chris Lee left, right? I was like, Halo Infinite's fucked. It's like, what's going on with Halo? They'll never recover. And when Bungie creative director leaves, they replaced with Valorant. Here's the news. Everybody's like, okay, move on. Let's talk about Xbox. You know, And it's just weird when you have the amount of negative actual news that has come out about PlayStation in this last year. Mind you, with also no first-party roadmap of games to be excited about. Yet here we are with Xbox we had the one negative news thing with the layoffs after the acquisition, right? Mind you, this is also after the biggest acquisition in the history of gaming. So we have that negative news. The rest, there's been nothing really negative whatsoever, except for people looking in and pinpointing like, well, they're not really doing that great over there in Europe with sales. What's this mean for the future? Oh, we're gonna have games like over there. What does that mean for the future of Xbox? Like, are we concerned? Like, we're so concerned. Everybody's always so fucking concerned about the future of Xbox. It's like insane. How much worry do we always have to have when we see one company actually with literal news articles like almost weekly over the past several months about something bad happening within the company, and it's just, hey, it's just business, you know? And that's just what it is, you know? It just happens, right? It's just they'll be all right. It's PlayStation. And then we have literally so many first-party games come with Xbox this year. Starting with Hellblade 2, you got Indiana Jones, you got Towerborn. It's coming. You got Flight Sim, you got Age of Mythology, Ara, just some off the top of my head. Okay. And then what big first party games are there for PlayStation this year? Anybody want to try?
I mean,
good luck. All right. So also, hey, literally stop manufacturing of a piece of their hardware that they've been investing in for years. And a studio closure of the only studio that was making games for that hardware. And the PSVR 2. Hey, that's all right. You know, we're happy that happened.
You're all right.
You know,
it's fine. Less is more.
Weird, man. But Christopher Dring says something. Hey, talk to a publisher, guys. You know what he said to me? He said, "I don't even know why I put games on Xbox." Oh.
He said that?
That's what he said.
He told you that?
As the GDC, this guy
that
that works for this big company that had a big game.
What's the company?
I can't tell you.
Oh, okay. All right.
Can't say. You know, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus here. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I'm just going to write a shit article about Xbox. Or I'm going to talk about Xbox on a podcast telling everybody what happened. Because this is fucking crazy. Right? Oh, I can't believe it.
What's happening with Game Pass?
Hey, less emphasis. That's what I hear. You know?
Oh.
Ooh. Yeah. ABK, those games don't matter. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about
That's
it.
Not left.
Oh, what did they just say at the business update event? That they're like, all their games going forward are always going to be on Xbox or on Game Pass?
Besides that,
I forgot.
Then is less emphasis after that.
You know, but they're not going to make hardware anymore. Right? I mean, their hardware future's doomed.
Besides what Sarah Bond said. After what Sarah Bond says.
Yeah, after that.
And
so we're talking about 10 years from now, 15 years from now.
Yeah.
But it's time to be concerned for then.
Yeah, for when that eventually happens.
You know, it's coming faster than we think, guys. 10, 15, it's coming. The future's coming, right? Let's get worried now. Okay?
Yeah, like 10, 15 years from now, I'm going to be concerned for future 3-bit.
If we stand up now, arm in arm, to be concerned together, we can make a change.
Only that changes into PlayStation.
We don't worry about PlayStation. They're good. Lotus Esprit hit us with another $20 super sticker and another hippo making an appearance saying victory. Hey, shout out to Lotus Esprit. Appreciate that. Choo choo, motherfuckers. Add another car to the train, and we'll make it another Lotus car because it's well deserved. Super appreciate the support. Fuzzy, what say you, my friend? Like, how you feeling about this important news?
I'm feeling like when I was like a little kid and watching Sesame Street back in the day. The word of the day is projection kids. When you have PlayStation fans always concerned about a box that they choose not to play on, even when they get free game codes, they'll complain because it wasn't a PlayStation code. They're still concerned about Xbox. It's funny to me because, like, you brought up Bungie. Bungie is a good example of a bad relationship. I mean, everybody talked about when they were with Xbox and how bad that breakup was with Microsoft. And then they go over to Activision, and everybody remembers how volatile that was. And they got out of the contract. They got the protection order or whatever type of thing. Then they went over to Sony, and everybody was like, oh, yeah, this would be the best relationship ever. This is the worst, the absolute worst. They're not even in. They haven't even been a part of Sony for 4 years, and they're already like burning clothes, changing phone numbers, deleting text, whatever you want to call
Burning
it.
clothes.
It's like ridiculous, like dumpster fire over there right now. Now the game lead director changing, not as much of a big deal. It just means you're probably gonna be gouged for more cosmetics. As far as if you thought Destiny was kind of rough with cosmetics, yeah, I expect that in Marathon. But the fact that their board might not even make it to the release of Marathon and nobody's writing an article. The fact that they fired people so they could keep that money before they were vested and then hire people like 2 weeks later to replace them for cheaper. But there's no articles. It's like, really? So there's nothing wrong with Bungie or the Sony relationship there. How about the fact that, we don't, it's starting to leak out, but it sounds like Sony was mixing the numbers up as far as, well, we sold 54 or maybe it was 50. Well, we sold 54 to the stores. So, places like Best Buy and all that got like warehouses of PlayStation 5s that are still sitting in the warehouse because the shelves are still filled at the stores. They don't have anywhere else to put them. So, did they sell 50 million? Did they sell through 50 million? It seems kind of strange to me, but the only people that'll be concerned about that are the Sony shareholders, because as long as they're doing that buyback stuff to kind of keep things afloat and make the books look good, nobody cares. It's no concern, nothing to worry about. You got the COO running PlayStation talking about they don't know how to make they know how to make games, but they don't know how to make money. That should tell you maybe they're not in the best of shape right now. But they cancel games, like you guys mentioned. They close studios. Nobody wants to talk about it. It was such a big deal that Toys for Bob was spun off as an independent studio. Well, I kind of look at it as, hey, we could either close you because they had already didn't renew the lease for the building, and they were like, all right, you guys can work remote, but they were probably like, hey, you either work on Call of Duty or see ya. Why not have them spin off as an independent studio? That would be a lot better than what they've been doing to like Deviation, where they pull the funding and they're stuck. They don't have anything else to work on. And all of that funding or all of that time was spent on a Sony game that will never see the light of day. And they've closed other studios, but nobody talks about it. But the minute that somebody big over at like a Xbox studio leaves or something like that, oh, it's doom and gloom for that studio, and they must have want to put all the Xbox games on PlayStation, and that's why they booted that guy out the door. And it's a hostile work environment while they're still, we looked at ABK when I think the deal was originally set. They were like, what, 20,000? Well, no, it was like 15,000 employees total, and I think they bloomed or blossomed up to almost 20,000 employees by the time the acquisition went through. To only have 1,900 layoffs should, well, I don't want to say commended, but it's astounding considering how many people they've added to the books at that point, and they were still able to keep a good bit of those people on the payroll. But PlayStation's, I would say, with all the closures and layoffs they've had, I think they're up to about that 1,900, if not surpassing it at this point. They're kind of neck and neck, and we're only in March right now. Nobody's worried about PlayStation. $1 trillion company lays off some people. Oh, it's like get the pitchforks in the streets. But when $1 billion or $100 billion company lays off people, crickets. It's ridiculous. But support the devs. That's right. A lot of the PlayStation cats will talk about supporting the devs and how they, always buy their games as opposed to renting their games. I don't know what, a bizarro world they grew up in, but last time I remember, Blockbuster existed, and a lot of people during the PS3 and earlier days rented their games. Nobody was buying those games because the reviews were in magazines. You didn't have the internet like you have today to get that instant review. So it was like, oh, you wait a month for the magazine to come out on the stands, or if you had a subscription, maybe you'll get a little bit earlier. But by that point, you're already looking at the box cover. Your only way of getting a feedback on it is either one, rent it at Blockbuster, or two, wait until one of your friends rents it at Blockbuster to give you feedback on it. So I don't know why they are so opposed to renting games now, but it is what it is. But it never fails. Like I joked about, after ABK, how the media was going to be, or the gaming media, I'll clarify, we're going to be about, oh, how the Series S is a potato and batteries in the controller. Now they're just like picking just random stuff. Like if I go to a convention and I only have one source saying, I don't know why I support or why we even bother supporting Xbox, and you're not getting any other ones coming up to you, you kind of exaggerate that it's like almost every publisher, but it's really just probably the same one that you talked to 4 years ago when you wrote a similar article about, well, people don't want to build for the S because it's holding things back or whatever. But I don't understand why, for gaming media that's supposed to be about the fun of the hobby, seem to forget at when they work or do any reporting for Xbox, with certain exceptions. But it's always like Xbox is talking about new hardware, the potential of a handheld. The only ones really talking about it are Xbox centric places, but nobody over at PlayStation is talking about it. They're talking about all the doom and gloom for Xbox. And they're not even talking about the potential PlayStation portable either, which you would think they would be excited for that. No, it's Xbox, doom and gloom Xbox.
Oh, you mean the
PS5
real
Pro.
one? The real portable this time, essentially?
Yeah, the one that you
Okay.
can actually install games on and not have
Right.
to worry about having your super duper internet at home kind of thing. Yeah, that one. But like, here's a good example of how gaming journalists are full of BS. PS5 Pro, right? It was all about that a couple of weeks ago, where it's going to run GT6, 60 frames, or at least they thought, because I guess they're not tech heads or whatever. They thought it was going to run 60 frames, and they were, oh, this is going to be a serious win or a serious W for PlayStation and an L for Xbox. They didn't do a mid-gen refresh, blah, blah, blah. Then when the actual tech channels came out and said, yeah, it's not running 60 frames, it's only at 10% on CPU. Maybe it'll have a little bit better resolution. Maybe it'll have a little bit better visuals, but it's not going to run any better, really. It just might be a more consistent 30 if it's locked, but it's not going to get you to 60. It's not happening with that hardware. Now you don't really hear about the PS5 Pro. And that's supposed to be coming out this holiday. I guess they lost all of that excitement for that thing. Maybe when pre-orders, they should have actually started doing pre-orders before the tech people got a hold of it, because at least they would have their money and that'd keep them afloat until, the holidays or whatever. But it's funny how that rose in the news and then just died. And now, because that's no longer a go-to thing, well, now it's back to Xbox. Oh, I guess they're going to stop emphasizing on Game Pass. Let's see. Okay, so
so weird.
Game Pass had, like, for the past 2 months, a lot of third-party games, either day and date or ones that people were highly requested that may have missed out on when they originally launched, like your Dead Island 2 type thing, or your Evil West and stuff. Like, these are games that people were like, yeah, I want to get that. Or if they didn't already get it, they were like, well, I really want to play this, first-party game, or I want to play this particular game at the beginning of the year, and I'll get around to that later. Now it's in Game Pass. So I just don't understand how they think it's going to be less of an emphasis when you have 40 plus studios. You've already seen, I think we're up to like 42 games that are first party, which will be a span over the next 5 years, to possibly even include a launch lineup for the next gen console. And the other team, you're lucky if you get a roadmap, next April. Like, was it 2025 when they'll have another first party game other than MLB The Show, which it's a multi-plat. I mean, it's like Minecraft at this point. Um, Still a good baseball game that, 6 times the amount of Xbox players play over PlayStation, guys, and it's their own first party. Did they walk away from it? No. It was always around like sub 1 mil range as far as sales were concerned on PlayStation. But they don't even get like the leftover last year in their PS Plus. It's like they're forced to pay the 70 while, those on Xbox are fortunate enough that you can try it, see if you like it for the price of your monthly subscription with Game Pass, and then get a discount on it if you decide to buy it. But I don't know. I've stopped listening to the games media, much like I've stopped listening to the regular news. Like, I used to hate that you'd have like a good day at work, because sometimes that happens. You come home, you watch the news, and it's like, oh, there was a fire and it burned a house full of kittens. Oh, there was a shootout at the mall, and everybody missed, but an old lady was, her leg was severed or something. It's like, why are we seeing all this negative stuff all the time? There's never the good story, like, the kid that was rescued from the well, or the person that was stuck in a car accident and they were rescued uninjured or whatever. You don't get the good stuff. You always get like, death, doom and gloom there.
Yeah.
And now it seems like it's leaked over into the games media. It's like nothing's ever good anymore. Like, this is supposed to be a fun hobby, and it doesn't seem like those guys are having any fun, unless they want to include poking fun at Xbox. But PSVR 2, yeah, I don't see anybody talking about that. I mean, even a supposed Xbox gaming journalist that bought one was saying it was collecting dust, and he should have known better, that it would have been better off just buying the MetaQuest 2 at that point, or wait for the MetaQuest 3, which at least there would be support on PC. At least it's a self-contained unit where you don't have to have an additional $500 console or 500 plus console. And it has a nice library that's backwards compatible with the series or with the Quest 2 and the original Quest. But hey, only PlayStation knows what they're doing, apparently. So we'll see how that works out.
And
I've rambled
then
enough.
we had the one article from the Sony, I guess he's the COO or one of those, where he was basically saying like, hey, our console sales, we shouldn't be focused on console sales. We should be focused on streaming, our subscription services, but everyone else is focused on the console sales because that's what's still being promoted in the media, despite this guy who's running Sony, who's running PlayStation right now, is like saying, hey, console sales don't matter, but everyone else is saying, hey, it matters. So it's just like, I don't know, gaming journalism, like you were saying, Fuzzy, you hit it on a lot of good points where it's like the positive things in games. When a game launches, it's like you talk about it for a day, celebrate it, and then it's like negative all around it again. It's just like, that's the part I don't really care for. But I mean, not to say like, hey, you should report on the news of things that are both positive and negative, but it just gets to a point like this where we can pretty much see what Chris Dring is doing, where it's basically leading to just clickbait at this point, and not even at this point, it's just most of this year has been mostly a lot of clickbait. So we could clearly look at like different points of what he's saying and just be like, yeah, that's probably not true. Maybe there is a hint of truth to that. Maybe you did talk to what is it, Larian Studios? Maybe they were the developer or what have you. But I mean, it doesn't really line up with what I think is actually happening. So
yeah, I mean, there's obviously always different kinds of news to report on, right, or talk about. I don't even know if he wrote an article, right, but he was talking about this like it's a problem. And like just overall, I think he does good work a lot of times, but I've also noticed a pattern in the past where clearly he has some kind of different view, because I remember that, and I was trying to think of exactly what game it was or what he was referring to. But I remember he wrote an article about how like nobody wins with like exclusives or whatever, when it was referring, and maybe it was about Starfield, right? I can't remember for sure. And then people were like, how come you don't feel this way about PlayStation games that are paid for exclusives, right? That are like would have been multiplats, but they obviously pay for them to be exclusives. And he was like, "Oh, I just didn't write an article about it." Like, okay, so why are you deciding to write an article now about it? Right? If you say you always feel this way, then wouldn't you have written something about this over the last decade when it's been prominently more on PlayStation that's happened? It's different when they actually buy a publisher and make it happen. Is it? What's better for the actual companies and everything involved? Who knows, right? But like, end result for the consumer, a lot of consumers don't care, like, or even know who makes the games. They just know who the game, right? Or they may see the development studio name, but they don't necessarily know who owns them or what deals they struck, right? And like, but he knows, right? And he chose to write an article about that at that time, and I'm pretty sure it was Starfield. He got called out for it, defended himself to no end, right? But then here you have similar situation talking about this stuff, and it's like, well, we had all this negative news about Sony the last couple months, just like really bad stuff. I mean, literally, they sold a piece of hardware. Was it $550 for a PSVR 2? That was only usable if you had another piece of hardware that also cost $500. And it did so bad that they pretty much have ceased support for it for the most part. They had very little first-party games come out for it. They had closed the only studio that was exclusively working on that kind of those games. And then now they have actually ceased production because they have a overload of stock that they can't get rid of. So then they go and they make it available on PC, like, or usable somewhat on PC, and in hopes that the PSVR 2 can find some kind of life to get rid of what they have. What about all the consumers that went and spent $550 on that device that we tried to warn them about? Too much, right? I applauded PlayStation for investing in the tech and stuff like that, but I gotta say, if you invest in it, you gotta stick behind it. If you sell that shit to consumers and you ask them to buy this product and you stand behind it, all that stuff. Has it been 2 years? How long has it been since the PSVR 2 has been out? It's not that long. I remember when everybody was talking about how excited they were to bring it in their home, and it was like, hey, it's cool. Hopefully they come out with some games, right? Well, we got the one Horizon game coming. Yeah, awesome. What else is there? We got some of the games that are already on PC coming. Okay, why don't you just get the other thing then? Because, it's like a PlayStation. It's so cool, right? Yeah, great. You wasted your fucking money. Okay? You wasted your money. You pretty much took $550, you put it on the table, and you lit that shit on fire because PlayStation said it's not worth it for us anymore to support the games for it because not enough of you people give a shit or to spend $550 on something that is worse than the competition. Brett Bingham, PSVR 2 is April 2023. It hasn't even been a fucking year, man. Yet. Just articles. Yeah. Articles. PlayStation ceased production on PSVR 2 to get rid of stock. Yeah. You want to talk about hardware problems? You want to talk about something where there's an issue with potential hardware and actually stop making them? Like, it's happening right now. with a product that's a gaming device that they literally sold you less than a year ago. And we're sitting here talking about Xbox not making hardware the same day that Phil Spencer talks about making fucking new hardware in an interview. How insecure are you? How can you have your blinders this narrow-sighted on blocking out all the other bad to only focus on Xbox? It is absolutely insane to me, the discourse that has been going on this year in gaming. To the point I like go on Twitter and I'm like, oh, this is fucking just horrible. Like, I just look at it, I'm like, what is wrong with people? Like fucking everybody's mentally fucked right now. And I don't know how to like say anything or do anything. Like, it just is what it is. It's like the insecurity of people over the Xbox brand has been so rampant from games media over the last couple of years that this year it's finally won over, I think. The concern trolling, I feel like for so long, has finally infected people's minds so much that they're just like, oh, yeah, I guess I should be concerned. Yeah, I think, I guess I really should be now. You know, and that's what I see like on Twitter, all these things, and it's like, oh, the future of Xbox hardware, the future of this, future of that, and I'm like, guys, they're fucking like have all these games coming out this year. They're all launching a Game Pass. They just bought ABK. They're already talking about new hardware in multiple different formats. What do people really want them to say or do that's going to ease their minds? Instead, people are so concerned because of the sales numbers of the hardware in Europe that it spells the doom for Xbox's future.
Physical sales.
It's just so strange to me. The parallel reality that seems like we live in when we actually look at the state of things, one company compared to another, PlayStation and the news that's actually been happening and where that company's going and what we know about the roadmap, and then Xbox, what's been happening, the state of things, and then the roadmap. Yet all the conversation is the opposite of what it should be. And it does. I don't understand how we got here. You know what I mean? I know they put 4 games on PlayStation, right? And maybe it has everything to do with that. The console war of that aspect of like, hey, our exclusives are better than yours, our console's better than yours, all this other kind of stuff took a hit to the mindset of many, right? Like, oh, well, shit, I've been championing this, I've been standing behind this, I've been saying all these things, and now you're giving them ours? Fuck them. I'm worried now too. You know? And it's just like, doesn't really fit with like, guys, they bought a fucking $70 billion company to bolster Game Pass and the lineups for the Xbox platform. $70 billion. Blizzard, Activision, Call of Duty. You got StarCraft. They even got fucking mobile games like Candy Crush and all this shit just piling money into the funnel. All of these things had just literally happened at the end of last year when it was finalized. And it's all reconfirmed that it's coming into Game Pass, day and date. We got another announcement today or yesterday that, hey, Toys for Bob, who was the one studio that went independent, not closed, like some of the Sony studios, actually now is working on a game for Xbox. That's another one in the fucking pipeline. Just add another one. It's a Toys for, hey, it's not a support studio Toys for Bob game. This is what we wanted.
Yeah, with that situation too, like I know a lot of people were like, why didn't you just own them? I think with Toys for Bob, like their studio example. I think they've been crushed underneath the Activision um staple for so long that they were only allowed to do certain things as a studio and they couldn't really breathe. So when Microsoft finally did acquire them, they're like, we want to be able to make the games we're known for again. And we don't want to do it with any other person above us. That studio had a specific sort of DNA,
Mhm.
couldn't really thrive um underneath Activision. Now Microsoft lately has been known for letting studios breathe and kind of doing what they need to do. Um, and they were starting to close out different studio, or they're starting to like basically that's when they started firing. Microsoft fired like what was it 1,500 employees because the a lot of the positions were the same job. Like customer service was a big part of it. I remember where Microsoft they handle customer service pretty differently from Activision.
Mhm.
So either some jobs were unneeded um, or just didn't match up with when you combine a huge company like Activision. Anyways, um, yeah. So that was a interesting situation, but Mavi, you and Fuzzy are hitting a lot of different points. I think a lot of people aren't really thinking about it from that lens. Um, the doom and gloom stance. I can't get behind that stance anymore. I do wonder, and maybe this is a question to you guys. I really do wonder if it's a result of Xbox over the years, like ever since maybe the Xbox One with the failure of the messaging there, if it's just a ripple effect from that where they can't accept, but it's bad to the point where people a lot of PlayStation fans can't accept anything negative about their own brand because when you start listing all these different stuff up, PSVR, all these studios closing, they're like, well, at least we got our Stellar Blade coming. We got our Rise of the Ronin. We're good. We're set. We're eating good. You know, pretty much ignoring the fire that is around their house. They just like, yeah, we got these games right now. We're good. We're eating good. So I do think I wonder if it's a result of PlayStation has been feeding the gamers for a while with these specific type of games, whether people like it or not. They've been doing a pretty good job at it for a
Yeah, but
while
it's
now.
accepted,
But
right? When it's
yeah,
them doing it. Like if this was Xbox and money added all those games, right, to
yeah,
be exclusive, um, you would see a completely different side of they wouldn't be people wouldn't be championing it. Look at what they did to add to the lineup, you
for
know?
sure. It's in terms of
Yeah.
the criticism is not equal at
They
all.
because they
Like,
tried it with Tomb Raider and they got
yeah,
absolutely crucified when they made when they did a deal and made Tomb Raider exclusive last generation. From even like prominent Xbox focused podcasters that work for
yeah. Why this
certain
deal is bad for
three-letter
gaming?
games media
Why?
publications. Yeah.
Because it was on the other foot where people who are normally on PlayStation, they're like, "What? I can't access this game." And there's more PlayStation gamers, there's more PlayStation people in the media. So when it happened to them, they were like, "No, I think exclusives are bad. I think exclusives are actually a
Yeah.
bad
Or
thing
like
because
Starfield. Oh, they were gonna make Starfield for PlayStation. Now they can't. Oh, it's so bad.
yeah."
Like
So
why?
when it
How could they do this? They spent 70 billion. It cost them $70 billion, or not $7 billion to make Starfield exclusive for Xbox, right? But it's not fair when you buy the company. It's not fair.
Yeah, even though like I think it's just because the majority of the media is PlayStation focused. When things aren't generalized towards them specifically, it's seen as, well, why doesn't it happen over here too? Where on Xbox that's been happening since almost the beginning of the generation, where
Mhm.
games have been skipping the platform. So it's like not normal like Xbox people have been kind of used to games just skipping their platform for years and years. So when we
Yeah.
do get exclusives, people are like, "What? Why do you get Starfield?
And
I don't
personally,
understand."
it's business,
Yeah.
man. Like I get why the PlayStation does it, because if they didn't, they wouldn't have shit for their customers as exclusives, and they got to sell hardware. They're more of a hardware focused company. Like if I were to look at it, like Xbox could be more competitive in that space. But at the end of the day, like we have so many games coming to Xbox now because of all the acquisitions. I would much rather be in that position if I was a company to actually own the rights and the complete control of the assets, as opposed to being dependent on having to make these third-party deals. We see how it's worked out with PlayStation and Square Enix on multiple failures in the past already. Some of them have hit better than others, right? But like ultimately, it's never a guarantee. And then if you lose the exclusivity on some of these games in the future, or you lose the ability to market them, then you've lost all the buildup you've had from doing those deals in the first place, like they are with Call of Duty. Because guess what? In the future, they won't have those exclusive beta times, or the maps launching first, or the exclusive skins, or any of that stuff on Call of Duty anymore. They won't be able to have Call of Duty on their boxes, right? For their consoles or any of that stuff. And like now they built up so much of a um like identity with stuff like that, and now it's gone, right? So like, yeah, it's better to own it if you can. And I don't criticize Microsoft for trying to own their assets. That's just kind of would be weird to not want to do that, And like I think if Sony could, they would have, right? But they can't, because obviously they can't even afford what they got right now.
And we just seen like, oh yeah, sorry, go ahead.
We got to get some super chats here, getting behind on them. Appreciate you guys in the chat. You guys all rock. Jax82 hit us with a $2 super chat earlier. Said Fuzzy had time today, giving everybody the smoke. Were you giving people smoke today, Fuzz?
No.
No.
Yeah,
Not enough.
I was just talking about stuff about Dragon's Dogma earlier, but yeah.
Such a fucking amazing
Microtransactions, they're
game.
here to stay. They've been here to stay for a while.
Yeah. Let's see. We got $10 from Spartan661. Says Xbox has the $2 experiment on bigger things in gaming for us gamers. The other consoles put their own BS twist on what Xbox has done or started, but the casuals have no idea or just ill-informed. Yeah, I think there is a lot of things that Xbox does first and they experiment with, and some things work and don't work, but they get the negative flack for it when it doesn't. But also, they don't ever get the credit for it when they do. So it's interesting. Then we got Spartan661 with the $5 says Sony is going to change the contracts to not allow third-party games on handhelds. That isn't on handheld that they have yet to create or could design. So Sony's going to change the contracts to not allow third-party games on handhelds that isn't on a handheld that they have.
That would be an interesting strategy. I'm sure Sony. I mean, you can't say Sony wouldn't do something like that, because over time they've been very clear that their strategy is to invest money into not letting Xbox be a bigger platform in any form or fashion. But I don't know. Would they do that? Maybe to some third-party games. I don't know if they would do it for.
Yeah, I don't. That would be interesting. I don't know if they could, like, legally. I mean, I guess maybe. Like, it changed the contracts to where you're not allowed to launch on handhelds.
Handhelds, yeah, that's an interesting one.
Yeah, it would be like some kind of. I mean, they would have to do the exclusivity type marketing, like money, for like, hey, you're not allowed to launch on other things, so they would have cost them, I think. Yeah. I think anytime you ask a publisher or that, hey, you can't do this, I think like there has to be some kind of money involved, unless it's just bullying, right?
Yeah, I mean they do that right now with Xbox, right? Like you're not allowed to launch on Xbox, or they have like parity clauses. Like if you do launch on Xbox, it has to match our version on it, PlayStation, etc., etc. So I wouldn't put it past them, but I just wonder what that looks like.
Yeah. Yeah, for handheld specifically, it'd be interesting. MJ, Mr. Joanna Dark, shout out $5 super chat. Said no, Nintendo and Sony have had their bad moments from the great hack to closing studios, but the industry can never forgive Xbox the sins of the past. That's true too. You know, the Xbox One was a bad generation for them. They had studio closures. They had game cancellations. They did worse than PlayStation in the hardware market. They lost market share. All these different scenarios. But then also a lot of good things came out from that generation, forcing them to change things for the betterment of gamers to try and gain a traction in the industry, and they did that, right? And it led them to where they are today, being like one of the biggest gaming publishers out there. Period. Acquiring all these different studios, having a gaming subscription that unifies all of it into a point of access that is the most affordable point of access for a large amount of games in gaming, especially for new games day one, day and date. Also with the ecosystem that now supports cross-buy, cross progression, cross save on a lot of these things, across multiple points of access too. And they're the only ones that do that. So, you know, do you think I personally don't think they get enough credit for that. Obviously they do it to be competitive in the space, but you talk about bang for your buck and value towards the consumer. But you know, we don't live in a world where people champion that stuff. We live in a world where people want to spend more for their games. We live in a world where people say, hey, it's cool if you need to raise the price, right? I get it. You know, that's the world we live in when the competition does it, you know. Oh, PlayStation was the first to raise their prices to $70. You know, it's time. Inflation. Right? It makes sense.
You would think people would want to pay less. Like, I never get that mentality. Like,
yeah.
I want the best value, obviously, so I want games to be cheaper.
Definitive editions. Hey, it's cool, right? That's the thing of last generation. Let's just keep it going, right? $10 extra. Why not? Let's just go. Director's cuts.
Yeah,
love
support
it.
the devs.
Yeah. Re-releasing remasters, turning them into remakes. Gotta love it. You know, it's what we're all about. $70 for this game that's a few years old, resold again. Why not? Let's just do it. It's only a little bit better than the previous one, but it's still better.
Charge me more.
Let's go. That's what we're all about here. Oh, it's not working? It's going to close these studios and lay out a bunch of people off and stop production on our VR device as well? Hey, we tried. If only we had sold our games for more. Maybe $90 next year.
Push 95. Let's do it.
Mr. Dring Dark again with the $2 super chat says, it's a campaign to protect Sony and the status quo. I would say, yeah, it seems that way. I mean, that's what I would kind of call the Xbox tax. You know what I mean? I don't know how even deliberate it is, but it's just subconsciously biased out there that these takes happen and these thoughts happen. And I think it has a cumulative effect. You know, like overall, you have a bunch of negativity to talk about something. Well, you think obviously more negative about that, or that it's less than, right? If you have a lot of positive conversation and a lot of hype about something, well, hey, it's cool. You know, like it's a cool thing to get. Let's just all jump on that bandwagon. Right? But that doesn't exist within games media and Xbox, and that's an insurmountable hurdle. And when you have all the things that they've done and all the things that we talked about earlier, and the list of like all these studios, you have the acquisitions, you have the talk of the future hardware, you have all the gaming subscription, you have all these different things in their favor. Yet the conversation is about concern, right? How can you beat that?
It's hard to. I mean, I've seen articles where it said like, why Xbox dying could be a good thing, you know?
Yeah, but less is
you don't
more.
see that.
Less is more
Less
here.
is, those two, like, oh, PlayStation may not have a great year this year with games, but how that's a good thing for us?
Yeah, we go through like 7 years. We're like, Xbox has no games. Why would you ever buy that? Look at all these games that PlayStation has. They're all bangers, baby. Yeah, this is what it's all about. It's a premium experience. dude. Oh my god, it's like this is what every company needs to be. They need to be like PlayStation. Oh, we don't have that anymore. Like we don't have any games coming out. You know what? Less is more. You know what I mean? Like, hey, like when they had less, it was trouble, right? Because we had more. They got more now, but let me tell you, things have changed because now less is more. More is less.
We changed our minds.
More is less, it's fodder. More is less, it's not quality. I'd rather have one quality thing than 10 average things. You know what I mean? I mean, who wouldn't, right? Just give me that one banger, baby. That's all I need. One every 2 years, even. One of those every 2.5 years, I'm good. No.
And then remake it in 4 years?
Yeah, and if we can't do it ourselves, you know what? Let's just pay for another company's exclusive, and we'll just keep it away from other people. That's just the way to do things, right? It's business, right? But it makes PlayStation better because PlayStation's looking out for us, the PlayStation consumer. They know what's important, and it's exclusive bangers. That's right. Thanks, PlayStation, for paying for other people not to play their games so that way I can. Less is more, though. Yes.
Yes.
What a world. So I've seen more flip-flopping this last, I think, 3 months than I have than the previous 10 years combined. From Xbox gamers, from PlayStation gamers, from podcasters, prominent podcasters, everything under the sun. Games media, it's been crazy. The one thing that's been consistent, more so than anything, has been pretty much Xbox's message.
And also games being mediocre, I'm seeing in our chat. Xbox games being mediocre until it comes to PlayStation. Then it all of a sudden is wow, this is good all along, right? Because Xbox only makes mediocre games. That's the message I'm seeing even right now in our chat. It was mediocre, right? Hi-Fi Rush was mediocre. Sea of Thieves.
Oh, we got that Rise of the Ronin coming, man. It's gonna be that banger, bro. You know what I mean? It's first party because we paid for it to be. It's gonna be that banger. It's 75. It's 75 on Meta. It's third party game. It doesn't count. It's third party. I mean, like, it's a game.
You have to fit. That's the thing that really bugs me is like these games games that people perceive to be quality has to be a specific genre. Like it has to be the dad simulator, the third person action adventure games. A multiplayer game like Halo, yeah, that doesn't count. That's not quality. That's just mediocre. It is, despite like PlayStation not have anything like Halo on their platform. It's just like it's a platform preference for a lot of people, and people perceive a lot of genres to be quality and other genres to not be quality, despite like Age of Empires being such an amazing game for its genre, or a racing game like Forza, or something like a game like Sea of Thieves. Like, goodness, it's really in the eye of the beholder. Like, there's a lot of games on PlayStation I really like. There's a lot of games on Xbox I really like. But it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah. I will say less is more when it comes to doom and gloom gaming articles. That's true. I'll take less of those and the conversation. Less doom and gloom. Right? I'll definitely take less of that because, man, we're eating so fucking good as gamers right now, and it's just absolutely ridiculous. Even Rise of the Ronin, like, it's 75. I don't care. I'm sure a lot of people are loving that game. Eventually I'm going to get it and play it. It doesn't necessarily, not every game has to be like that 90 plus like meta super crazy hit, but it is interesting the conversation that gets had about the games on PlayStation versus Xbox. Xbox. And I think part of that, guys, is kind of where we're at like right now and why all this is happening. Because Xbox had a run from November till May without any big first party games. When they had the developer direct, we're kind of surprised that they didn't have anything for a little bit sooner than that. It's like, okay, it's not a huge deal because a lot of times companies go like 6 months without a big release. It's not a big thing. But they have so many games coming after that. And meanwhile, you had PlayStation the first half of this year have like all of their like exclusive like money hat games as well. Like you have Stellar Blade coming around the corner still, or some point this year. You have Rise of Ronin just dropped. You have Final Fantasy just come out. Also, you had Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, which is on PC and PlayStation only, also earlier. So like you had like some games that are like, okay, there's some like good stuff there. It's not first party, but people that are playing on PlayStation like had all these different games. Helldivers 2 as well is a huge hit, and for like. In comparison, the Xbox, they had Power World, as an exclusive hit, right? But like other than that, there was not a lot. But let me tell you, just so everybody is clear and we're all on the same page. Come May and the rest of the year, that is going to be completely fucking reversed in the other direction. Because starting May through the rest of the year, Xbox is going to be the company that has all the big exclusives coming out. And PlayStation will have jack shit. So just want you all to be prepared for that, because then the conversation will change as opposed to right now. The difference is a lot of the Xbox games coming out are actually going to be first-party games from this pipeline of developers that they've invested in for years now. So can't wait to see what happens with the conversation.
When Xbox did have no games, go back to our podcast when we criticized that. It's like we keep the same energy on both fronts. Like when Xbox had no games besides like Pentiment, that was something we criticized. We're like, yeah, this is not good. Xbox having 30 studios and only having Pentiment out. That was like a criticism from us, and I have the same criticism on the PlayStation side where I'm like, you guys are not releasing any first party games till April of 2025 that we know of.
Yeah,
Like,
or any of the tentpole franchises is what
any
they
of the
said.
tentpole
Right.
franchises. I mean, how many is
They got a
left from
PS5 Pro probably coming. Excited?
Yeah, sure. Sure, I'm excited. Aren't you?
I don't know. I need to see what they got, man. I need to see why. I need to get it. Maybe I will be.
Yeah.
We'll have to wait and see. Magnum, member for 5 months, says, I only eat half my food because less is more. That's right, man. Got to get like lean and mean. To eat less food, you're more, right? You're strong. They have a better foundation, right?
Yeah.
Lotus Esprit with the $3 super sticker. We don't discriminate around here. All the super stickers are amazing, and at $3 adds another car, a Lotus car, to the train. Choo choo, motherfuckers. Am I doing okay with
hippos and dogs on this train now? Hippos and
that's a cat.
dogs.
That's a cat, bro.
Oh, is it a cat?
Or is it a fox?
Is it? What the heck is it? Is that?
It says bye bye. Well, I think Lotus left because the sticker says bye bye. Bye, Lotus. Hope you have an awesome one. Appreciate you for being here. Like it's just crazy. Like, shout out to Gus in the chat. Said, why should worry with Xbox? Let's ask ourselves. Before 2020, did we believe Xbox would be as it is now? Yes. I personally wouldn't have ever thought that they would have bought ZeniMax Bethesda and also Activision Blizzard, and then all those games would be coming into Game Pass day and date. Also talk still of the next generation of hardware going strong. Personally, no, I wouldn't have thought that. I don't think anybody could have thought about how amazing it would be, right?
Yeah, I mean, same. I don't think. I think as an Xbox fan, I hoped that they would like compete in a way where because you just had PlayStation just constantly just like taking games away that would have been on Xbox away, and it just happened for years and years. And Xbox had like 3 studios at the time, um, and all they were really releasing first party wise
Yeah.
was Halo, Gears, and Forza. But they didn't make deals with other people like in the past. They had like Mass Effect being exclusive, which is hard to even imagine. They had like Dead Rising and deals with Capcom. But PlayStation just overtook that marketing and just like kept doing it until the point where it was just uh, got a lot of publishers on board with them. So I never thought it would be in the position it is now, or maybe I just hoped
Yeah.
that Xbox would compete on a level that is like similar. But now we're in a state where they may not be the best at console sales, but that's not really what
Yeah.
kind of matters in the sphere of things when they are killing it in subscriptions and also on another sphere of just having I call them like the Trojan horse. Like when you look at the most sold games on PlayStation, they're Xbox titles, which
Yeah.
so it is what it is. Like they are competing in other ways. They're like, oh, we can't compete in this one way that you basically dictated for like a decade. Let's compete in another way.
Yeah.
And the media hasn't caught on yet because they're still talking about console sales in the UK. So just let them keep talking about
Yeah.
that, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so weird. Fuzzy, you want to answer this question? Luis Jose put a question in the chat. He said, "Quick question: any thoughts on Microsoft not encouraging devs making exaggerated proportions on characters?"
I don't think it's just Microsoft, but then you have games like Stellar Blade, which it's not made by PlayStation.
Remember, PlayStation
Um,
actually came out and talked about Stellar Blade also, or somebody from PlayStation. I remember was it
yeah.
Hiroki Totoki or maybe said something. I can't remember who it was. Somebody said they're not a fan of it, but it's just how
Well,
it is.
I mean, look at what they did to Mary Jane.
Yeah,
Uh, it's something that's in game development now. I think they're trying to um, have less in your face as far as body image stuff, and at least from devs that are based in the U.S. Devs that are based outside the U.S. see things differently and may not have those same societal qualms or whatever. I don't think the developers of Stellar Blade really care how women feel when they see their character in the game. But that's not the case with a lot of the American-based studios. I think that there's at least somebody kind of in that meeting saying that maybe we should tone things down a bit or something to that effect. Now we'll see what Rockstar is like. Now remember, the headquarters for Rockstar is not in the U.S. It's in the U.K. So we'll see if they tone things down. It doesn't look like from the trailer that they have, but most of your US based studios, whether it's Microsoft or PlayStation or any other ones that are based here in the US, all of their characters, at least on the female side, seem to be a little bit more reserved in comparison to overseas ones. But I just give us character sliders. I mean, if you're on PC, obviously you can do mods, and there's always tons of mods for female characters on PC. But just give us sliders, because I like if I want to recreate my wife in the game, it's kind of hard to do when she's an H cup and they don't even go past like C cup. So yeah, I don't know. It's weird, but it's weird across the board here in the U.S. with devs, at least from what I've seen so far.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I at the end of the day, like I just don't care about market research or like what focus groups say or what they think is trying to be like politically correct or anything like that. Just make let the developers make the kind of shit they want to make, and you know what I mean. Like if they want to make somebody that is more like normal looking, average daily person, I'm cool with that, right? If they want to make somebody that they want to be like a super sex symbol and like whatever, I'm cool with that. I don't care. Ultimately, whatever they want to make. Uh, if Microsoft's trying to give guidance on that, I don't care. Just the developers are going to make what they want to make, and they can choose where to listen to you or not, right? Corporations are going to corporate. They're going to try and do this kind of shit. At the end of the day, they don't have to listen, right? Like they're publishing and making their own games, and I think a lot of times the developers are going to choose what they want to do.
Yep.
Like,
They gotta
and
do whatever they want.
I mean, if you look, there's plenty of shit out there for people that are hornballs, right? I'm just saying, like, if you go get a Switch, okay? There's like a million hentai games on the Switch, okay? Go get a Switch, and you'll have a field day. If there's plenty of games that come out on Xbox, PlayStation, all that kind of stuff. I don't think it's like a problem of like them toning down characters and stuff like that, because there's still games that come out like that all the time. But it's interesting conversation whenever it comes up, because it's like, oh, look what they're trying to water down our stuff, make everything politically correct. All this, I don't know. There's so much crazy shit out there, guys. Like, fuck. They know that people are horny, right? And they make shit for horny people. They do. They just make shit for horny people all the time. They know that shit's gonna sell too, and there's plenty of stuff out there for you, so I wouldn't be too worried about it. Spartan661 with the $2 says Team Ninja on OG Xbox greater than Rise of the Ronin for Sony. Yeah. Dead or Alive. That was definitely a game that wasn't trying to be politically correct or anything. But also Dead or Alive, and then you also had Ninja Gaiden. Yeah, dude. But like Rise of the Ronin's its own new thing too. Like you could look at Wo Long as well as kind of like the recent game for Xbox. I think Team Ninja's best days were in the past. When Tomonobu Itagaki was there making those games, right? But they still make good stuff.
Doesn't he have a new studio or
there was so there was he has some kind of new thing he started up, and I don't know, he's working on a game, and it will be on Xbox, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's like for Xbox.
Yep.
Right. They're called Switch cultured games, Mav. Yeah. It's crazy. You go through the Switch store, it's like what the fuck? It is crazy on there sometimes. Anyway, so also wanted to just bring up this handheld conversation from Phil Spencer, right? Because like I said, even with all the talk about Xbox hardware is in trouble for the future, here was Phil Spencer actually in an interview talking about Xbox's hardware future. In another possibility. This is from Chris Plant on Polygon. A handheld Xbox, Microsoft's gaming chief can't stop thinking about it. Phil Spencer has tried all of the new PC gaming handhelds, the Asus ROG Ally, the Lenovo Legion Go, and the Steam Deck. He's impressed, but he can't shake one question. How would he make them more Xbox? He said, I want my Lenovo Legion Go to feel like an Xbox, Spencer told Polygon in an interview during the annual Game Developers Conference. I brought the Legion Go with me to GDC. I'm on the airplane, and I have this list of everything that makes it not feel like an Xbox. Forget about the brand. More like, are all of my games there? Do all my games show up with the save files that I want? I'll tell you one game that doesn't right now. It's driving me crazy. Is Fallout 76. It doesn't have cross-save. I want to be able to boot into the Xbox app in a full screen, but in a compact mode. And all of my social experience is there. Like, I want it to feel like the dash of my Xbox when I turn on the television. Except I want it on those devices. So basically what he's saying is he wants, like, a native feeling Xbox experience on handheld PCs, right? According to Spencer, the Xbox hardware team led by Rowan Sones is considering different hardware form factors and things that they could go do. It's interesting. Okay, so the Xbox hardware. Why would they even have a hardware team anymore, guys?
Yeah, I heard
I
it
mean, they
was
just
dead.
send them home. Weren't they part of the layoffs? No? Okay. Anyway, the hardware team, led by Rowan Sones, is considering different hardware form factors and things they could go do as it plans the future of Xbox hardware. Christopher Dring, are you listening? Hello? Are you there, Christopher? All the way in the UK or wherever the fuck you live? Let me say this again. Different hardware form factors and things that could go do as it plans the future of Xbox hardware. What should we build that will find new players, Spencer said, that will allow people to play at times when they couldn't go play in the past? In our expansive interview, Spencer described two approaches to making Xbox available on handhelds, the hardware versus the software approach. As he said, he has strong feelings about what a handheld Xbox device should feel like, but he also recognizes, having learned from the console business, that players may choose brands other than Xbox. It's like gamers play on PC and Xbox consoles right now, right? For those players, Spencer wants to improve the Xbox handheld gaming software experience too. This sounds like they've already decided to make a handheld, and there's also worried about the handheld PCs. Because it says that players may choose brands other than the Xbox for those players. Spencer wants to improve the Xbox handheld gaming software experience too.
Yeah.
Particularly for people who have devices running Windows like the Legion Go and the Ally. I like the fact that Valve, Lenovo, and Asus went out and innovated in a new form factor. And I will say that when I'm playing on those devices, it almost feels more like a console than a PC. 9 times out of 10. The things that usually frustrate me are more Windows-based than device-based, which is an area I feel some ownership of. Remember, Windows is now part of the whole same division. Yep. I want to be able to log in with a controller. I've got my list of things we should go do. Spencer has spent his tenure at Microsoft pushing Xbox to be both a console experience and a software experience that follows players wherever they enjoy games. That philosophy expands with his views on handheld gaming. From a game creator standpoint, Spencer said, I can then go build a single version of my game that spans more hardware and reaches more customers. And I would say for players, it reduces the friction. Like if I want to go play my console games on the go with a handheld, I don't want to only be able to buy one brand of handheld, right? I want everything that we're doing in the hardware space to be great. But if somebody chooses to go play today, I don't want them to feel like a lesser Xbox player. So their vision for Xbox Anywhere, right? They want all these handheld PC gaming market that's growing and exploding. They want the Windows-based ones, at least. They want it to feel like Xbox is a native option there, right?
Yeah.
Over the past 7 years, we've seen the Xbox development team get creative with its software, moving games to new platforms, building up the Game Pass subscription service, and making games playable on smartphones through streaming. As we wrapped our conversation, Spencer wouldn't outright announce an official Xbox handheld, but he did say he sees a similar level of creativity coming to hardware that Xbox has brought to software. Why? That's weird, man. I don't understand how that's possible. Then Spencer says, I think it's important, said Spencer. You and I, we've been around for a couple of days. Look at the real inflection points in our industry. Like look at the Wii. It was hardware innovation that was linked with great software innovation. And I think this article stops there. So I don't know why.
Yeah.
But anyway.
I mean, to me, Mav, I think Phil is lying because other people told me that they're not doing that.
What? Who?
So
it's some
Dring and some other people have said Xbox like dead, and they're getting out the.
I mean, why would they even make hardware anymore, man? Publishers don't even want to put their games on the system.
Yeah, that's what I heard. So it doesn't make sense to me. So Phil must clearly be lying, because why would they make more consoles?
I don't know.
They put other games on other platforms, so it doesn't make sense anymore. right?
I guess. I don't know, man. It's so weird. It's like I think Phil's just lying through his teeth. It's lying Phil Spencer, right? It's what they all say.
Yeah, this is the last generation
Yeah.
for them.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to be shut down by 2027.
Oh yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what he's talking about, just like in a weird way.
Yeah, that's probably what he meant. Is what when he was saying like they're gonna make a new console and all that. They probably just meant like
They
they're not
meant they're not going to.
not going. Yeah.
Is it opposite day?
Yeah. Oh,
Maybe it was opposite.
April.
It was opposite day at when he did the interview with Polygon.
Yeah,
I think that's what's happening.
Yeah, something's weird going on there.
It sounds like to me they've just like I just want to get your guys' perspective on this real quick before we do tidbits. It sounds like to me this Xbox handheld is in production, like not full product, but like in development as far as like they're on their way to making it a reality. Phil talking about the hardware even making creative strides, right? And then he talks about also the other experiences for the other devices as well. He wants to make those great. But seems like to me from this, there is going to be a Xbox handheld device that is going to enter the family of handheld options that are out there. That's going to be more of a native type machine. Did you get that from this, Fuzzy?
Yeah. It's kind of like what we've been speculating on for a while now, and it's the only thing that really makes sense from a console perspective as far as carrying your library with you, and not having to rely on streaming to do so. PC handhelds can kind of do that, but not through the Xbox store. They did also, well, he had made mention in a different time frame or on social media, or maybe it was Xbox Live, where someone had asked them in reference to being able to stream your games that you own, which that would be cool to add to the Game Pass Ultimate subscription and stuff as a perk. But to have an Xbox handheld that can play or emulate, let's say, the Xbox games that you own, you can install them to, a built-in SSD, or maybe an SD card, or maybe the same card that works in your Series X or S can plug into this. You can, just immediately play those games from that card. Would be the best way to go. Now, they leave it open enough to sideload stuff, to allow you to also play, your Play Anywhere titles via PC, or some of the PC titles you may own that haven't come to console yet, or some of the things that are on PC Game Pass that don't make it to, console Game Pass. That would be cool too. But I think the third party aspect is where it gets a little dicey. They're probably going to have to find a way to negotiate to make sure this handheld that they make, that will play the console games, if it goes into PC mode, do you still carry that license over, or is it going to continue to emulate what you own on console on the PC side of things? So it's definitely something they've been cooking for a while. But there's been a handful of people also talking about the operating system. Take the Xbox OS or take Windows OS, make it extremely light or thin, where it doesn't have much of the bloatware that you don't need. You're not going to need things like Notepad. You're not going to need things like calendar or calculator and stuff like that. Just have it where just the stuff that run the games, turn it on, turn it off, pick a game, download a game, maybe a browser so you can, access, stuff for your perks or your Microsoft rewards, and that's about it. And have that where they can make the software if you already own a Legion, or if you already own a Steam Deck and you don't care for Steam OS, which that so far is like the standard. You could override it with that new thin Windows / Xbox skin, on your Legion Go or your ROG Ally, and it's basically an extension of a Xbox console, just pretty much a custom built one at that point. But yeah, I can't wait for this. Like if this winds up being something where it's like a Steam Deck, but you can play the console games and PC games, and it be on the same level as far as the quality of a Series S, which by the way, the Series S is more powerful than the Steam Deck. And if you were to plug it in the wall, it's probably more powerful than all of the portables except for the top end Legion and the
Yeah.
top end ROG Ally. Um, yeah, that this is hopefully something that they bring to market this holiday, and it would be a good enough thing to carry over even into next gen because push come to shove, if they have an AI chip in there, maybe the drawback would be that the next gen games after 2026 can only play 30 frames, but you get them up res to the full 1080, or maybe the AI is able to do frame generation for it and make it so you'd be able to play those next gen games, albeit that they will be in 720p or something like that. Which on a screen that size, that'd be perfectly fine.
Yeah. How much would you pay for a handheld Series S that's dockable?
Series S normally going for under 300. I would love for this thing to be 300, but I think my top out price is 500.
That
But
with dock?
realistically, I would want this somewhere in like the. Say that
Is
again.
that with a dock? 500 with the dock you'd go up to, or without?
I don't even like docks unless the dock has like GPU boost. A dock is not really needed. Like the Steam Deck one I have, you can buy cheaper ones because I think the Steam Deck one was 80.
Mm-hmm.
You can buy cheaper ones for 20. It will still be able to hook up a keyboard and mouse and hook it to a monitor and a power supply and an Ethernet cable if you want. So I would say with or without a dock, top out at 5. Ultimately, I'd like this to be around 400. And if it's 400 without a dock, I'm fine with that. Because, like I said, there's tons of them on Amazon that would be good enough to connect it to your TV without a problem. But if the official dock makes it like it's a Series X, standard, then maybe the price goes up because at that point you got some sort of GPU something boost in that dock that's helping it more so than just like an upres type of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But you fuzz, I mean, not fuzz 3-bit. You think that article means that handheld Xbox is a thing? Because that's what I take.
Yeah. It makes sense to go that route considering, I mean, where they are taking games and what they want to do with their like Xbox PC, then the next step now that they have a company kind of like Candy Crush is to go to like a handheld market.
Yeah.
I do wonder because he talks a lot about in this article like advancing the tech a little bit. I do wonder if that is this relating to like changing the dashboard and stuff and advancing that to work more with a handheld type of device because he kind of relates it to like, hey, on Xbox, uh, uh, sorry, not on Xbox, but like on other platforms like the Steam Deck and how that's more seamless and all that. Trying to put that on something like a handheld kind of makes sense. I do wonder if they're gonna make rules and deals with Seagate or something to figure out how memory expansion is gonna work because being native is a big thing for mobile type devices. So I do wonder. I think it needs to be native if it's gonna be especially like $500 or something like that. It has to hit a couple points for people to take a handheld device seriously because some people half do it, like the Portal, and still get praise for it, which it should not have. But um, if you're going to do a handheld device, you better just go all in. And when you do that, you kind of tackle the different markets. Like you are getting into that Switch market a little bit. In a weird way, you're still competing with like PlayStation and everything. So you are in a way expanding your market if you do go a handheld route, maybe with potential to still play on your TV with some sort of dock thing. But considering what Fuzzy said, I mean that could be what they do as well. Just maybe have it as a separate thing, or maybe just opt out of docking altogether. I don't know. I do know, like a lot in this article, what it does hint to is somewhat of an update towards how it would work on a handheld. So probably a whole new UI system. Maybe they change how memory works a little bit. With another deal with Seagate or something. Maybe they'll do a little chip card, put it in your Xbox handheld. I don't know. I feel like that's probably things they are thinking about when you do a handheld. Um, but it could be cool if it's like 720p, 1080p. I'm sure that could look pretty cool on a handheld. But we'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, I
It'll look
wanted.
better than the Switch. That's
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. I think just like some kind of like Series S powered like native thing that you can take on the go and dock on a TV. Like I think like for me though, I do want to like a marketable like dock that's just a simple like, hey, when you buy this at the Xbox handheld at the store for like the casual consumers, it's right there, just like Xbox dock, because I think it has more like easy appeal, right? Because people already understand that system with the Switch and how that works, and I feel like okay, you have like a $50 dock or whatever you can buy, and even if it isn't like a huge like power boost or whatever, just the ease of getting this Xbox thing and putting it on your TV and maybe even if it's only like a resolution boost, taking it from like the whatever the native handheld screen is to like more of a potential 4K capability on a big screen TV because of the power draw, right? That would be something that would be beneficial. Like I would rather have like three of those than three Series S's in my house, right? Or to be honest though, I wouldn't even need I would just need like three docks and then maybe just one of those, right? Instead of three Series S's. So like in a way, like could actually save me money just for the compatibility of being able to move it around and put it on the different TVs and stuff. Like just for consumer focused things, I think it makes sense to have something like that. Now, and I think it should come with it. I think there should be maybe an option with and without the different price points. Um,
Hmm. And the
and
online that needs to change a little bit because if you if you're offline on Xbox, like you can still play some games and download some games, etc., or be able to play games offline. But if you're on the go, I feel like that system has to change a little bit, right?
yeah,
Because your home Xbox or whatever is usually how you can play games offline,
yeah,
but even then it's still kind of weird. So I feel like that would have to change quite a bit if it was handheld.
yeah. Well, I mean, with Wi-Fi and all that kind of stuff, I mean, people are like literally
Mm.
selling cloud only devices too, you know.
True.
So it's
True.
like I think it'd be interesting to see what they do with it. But yeah, you're right. It'd be interesting how they handle that because if you lose connection like off and on by traveling, you know, that is an
Yeah.
interesting conversation with that, and maybe you'd have to make it your home thing. Or but what I think they should do is get rid of the whole "it's my home Xbox" thing and just be able to like register your devices with your account, right? Which you already do, but
Yeah.
with them know it's part of your household, and then that's all that matters. You know,
But
like
I
get
guess it checks that because you're online.
just let
So it's
everybody
like a
that lives in your house that with your family that you have your Xboxes registered to your name, like play your fucking games. You know, like
yeah.
that would be
ma-
the best
Make it
thing.
easy.
You know, that's because that's how like streaming services work with like Netflix and all that. You have to they have to make sure you're in the same internet like household. Like if you have like Hulu Live TV, you pay extra. If you go like somewhere else out of the household or something, it'll be like, okay, you're not at home. You only have access to like the regular service or whatever. but like you can do it on any fucking TV in the house or whatever. It doesn't matter, right? Like you just have access to your stuff no matter what device you're on, as long as
Yeah.
you are on your account, you own the device. Now they
Yeah.
gotta, but like it'll say if somebody logs in another fucking like country or something, obviously it's like you don't live there,
That's probably the
so you'd have to
thing
move, But the handheld
that
is
they have
interesting because
to
you're taking it with you, so they would have to register that as a handheld somehow and like change that system. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing they have to think about when you create a handheld system. It's not just like, hey, let me take the Xbox
Yeah,
and push it somewhere else. That's a
yeah,
Patrick me for people out there. But they can't just put it or write in a
yeah.
handheld and just be like, la la la. It has to have some features that makes it worthwhile
Mhm.
to be a good handheld experience. So
That's 100% spot on there, man. How does Steam Deck handle that?
what does Steam?
I think you just logged into your Steam library and it's all that matters. I think, right? Like, it doesn't matter what
Yeah,
Wi-Fi you're on.
And I just did the family sharing thing. So whatever I have installed on my Steam Deck, I can play as long as it's in the family account.
Right.
So the two boys, I bought them games separately at certain points because there were some games that they wanted that I was like, I don't really want it. So they have their library of stuff that's added to the big library of stuff. So there's, I think it's now because we're new or PC enabled, I guess you could say. We got like 160 games in like a
Yeah.
shareable with, I think, 8 exceptions. Like, oh crap, I forget which ones are the exceptions, but I think Ready or Not is one of them. One of the things for Insurgency Sandstorm, although I have 3 copies, we have 3 copies of Ready or Not. And there's a couple other games that are like that where they're non-shareable no matter what. Oh, GTA, which we have 3 copies of that as well. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, your Steam Deck, as long as you installed it on your Steam Deck and it's attached to your account,
Yeah. I mean,
have access
that's
to it.
that's like how Xbox works now, I guess. But like where it becomes a problem is if like it's somebody else. Like if I wanted to give it to my daughter and she wanted to plan her account, right? That's where like okay, she wouldn't have access to my games unless it was set as the home Xbox.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's but
I
that's
constantly
the
share
situation
games with
we deal with now. Anyway.
like my fiance's sister. Like she
Yeah.
always gets on my Xbox, and like how she does it is she logs on my account and then goes to her
Yeah.
profile, and then
And
she has
plays.
access to my games.
Then if
So
you
that's,
were to play though, if you want to play at the same time, that's where
and
it
I guess
fucks
I
it up.
kick her out.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Anyway,
They should really create a system for that.
yeah, I think
Family plan
the family
something.
plan thing. It's 100%. And it's something that Phil Spencer's acknowledged for a long time that they need to figure out. And they had that trial for the family plan with like Xbox Game Pass and all that kind of stuff. And then there's also the thing where they're working on getting the games you own to be streamable and all that stuff in the cloud. So that's going to have an impact on that stuff as well. So there's got to be some working around, and I think if they do have a handheld device, it's probably something they'll have in mind and how they re-envision that whole system. But yeah, I think it's happening. I would personally pay upwards to 500 for a good Xbox handheld device, and I would rather have it sooner than later. I think they need to come out with it sooner. I saw somebody in the chat saying like it'd be a Microsoft handheld, not an Xbox handheld. I think it'd be Xbox like native kind of handheld device. Like it's from the Xbox hardware team. He's talking about Phil Spencer's comments is regarding Xbox and all that kind of stuff. So the gaming PCs, I think would be they're looking at probably having some kind of application that you can just launch into that's more of a native like gaming device type system to support those handheld gaming devices. Like they want to be like if you're Xbox, I would imagine they want to go to like Lenovo or Asus or like whatever and be like, here, install this Windows Xbox. It'll call it like Windows Xbox or whatever, and install that. And then when the people get it, they'll boot it up. They'll boot it up right into Xbox, right? Yeah. You can go into the PC and stuff. Like, how about boot up right into Xbox? You boot up right into Game Pass. You have all these other things. You have your library, all that kind of stuff right away. And that would be more like consumer friendly, kind of like because how the Steam Deck operates, right? You can do all that other stuff outside within the Steam Deck, but the traditional casual gamer that buys at Steam Deck is just going to launch into Steam OS and have that console type experience, right? And that's what that PC gaming handheld market is kind of missing right now. They have like weird things that they do to kind of weird applications they use to kind of like offset that and make it not a thing, but Microsoft and Xbox can really do wonders by making Xbox the go-to option on those instead of Steam, right? And that's their competition in that space, right? For those handhelds. So anyway, yeah. But anyway, to the contrary of the concern, trolling, and the worries out there, Xbox is again mentioning new hardware. We have one more segment here on this episode of Fun Speculation Podcast, everybody. All right, everybody, this is Tidbits, the segment where we look ahead at the games releasing for the week. And I have no idea how ready we are for this because I didn't even talk to 3-Bit about it. But I see he did the activity thing. So we're just going to wing it and roll with this thing. Is this the first game, 3-Bit?
Yes. This is the first game. I didn't. Yeah, you're right. I didn't talk to you about it, but I hope it works.
Yeah. Did you hit play or do I have to hit it?
You should hit it.
Okay.
Or can you hit
it? I have to hold it. Can you hit it?
Wait. All right, now you can hit it.
Oh, there we go.
There.
Oh, wait, it's like almost over. Hold on. There we go.
There you go.
Oh, it's a card game. Card battle game? I like these.
Tell us about the game, Fuzzy.
This is Acolyte of the Altar. PC came out Monday, $16.99, only on PC at the moment.
Looks solid for this kind of game.
Actually, it looks pretty fun. It looks like Gwent a lot.
Yeah.
It's pretty fun though.
Spartan661 says, Fuzzy, you have the best I don't give a shit face, and I will never play poker with you. Yeah, Fuzzy's face doesn't change most of the time unless he's laughing. Amazing. Bulwark Falconeer Chronicles. Is this that one where they build the whole world kind of thing?
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't this like 100 frames?
Yeah, this comes out Tuesday. Yeah. This comes out Tuesday on PS5, Series X and S, and PC for $19.99.
Yeah, this is made by the Falconeer devs.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the Falconeer universe, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a blend of genres. It's like a builder, but also like an RTS kind of, from what I understood. This guy's done multiple interviews about it. I'm surprised it's only $20. It kind of looks pretty expansive for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Falconeer.
Yeah, Thomas.
So far,
I think it's one of those deals where he figures. Yeah, I think he figures at that price, it's one of those impulse buys.
Yeah.
He'll probably sell a ton more than if he priced it at 40 type of thing. But wish him the best. That hopefully that game does well for him as well.
They did a little.
All right, this is Grandia HD Collection.
Yep. Oh, it's actually coming to Xbox and PlayStation.
Yeah. PS4 and Xbox One this Tuesday for $39.99.
Yeah, Psycho would be excited if he was here. Shout out to Psycho. He had to close at work and he has to open tomorrow, so he's not able to make it tonight.
Yep. Looks cool though. I don't think I ever played the old ones, but might check it out.
Thanks, Abdel. Appreciate you, bro. Yeah, this was the everybody chill the fuck out episode.
Oh, what the heck? Okay.
I like the old school music on that shit.
Yeah, took me back.
Right. This next one is Planet Zoo at the console edition. And it comes out this Tuesday for $49.99.
Good job on the tidbits. Oh, well, hold on. I just gave. Wait, nope, you did it. You restarted the video. Okay, it's all right. Good job on the tidbits, though. 3-bit. It's like Jasper's here. I love it.
Yeah.
And Fuzzy, appreciate you always doing all the links to help with this.
Planet Zoo. So is this? Thank you, man. This is similar to like Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Looks like
Kind
that
of, yeah.
Zoo game that came out at Xbox One launch. Remember that game?
Yeah.
We built a zoo or something like that, or
This is pretty cool. What is this on, Fuzzy?
This one is on the series consoles as well as PS5. That's all that's listed for right now. But I think this has already been on PC. So
Zoo Simulator Dawn. I was thinking if we bought a zoo, the movie.
Let's switch it to this. Build a world for better.
Enrichment, 85%. La Tigre.
No,
if you
are
can
you
set
guys
the
getting
animals
this game?
free so they can eat the spectators.
It
guys
actually
give this
looks
game day
really
one?
cool, man. I mean, when the fuck am I gonna play this? You know, it looks awesome, but just realistically, when am I gonna play a zoo fucking simulator right now with everything else?
After Dragon's Dogma?
When is that gonna be? That's the question. That game's massive. And if all of my pawns get the infection, I might have to restart my playthrough.
No, just throw them in the lake.
Yeah.
This is a South Park Snow Day coming to PS5, Series X and S at Switch and PC this Tuesday, or basically today, at $29.99. Now, believe it or not, I believe this footage is on the Switch. And I know it's South Park, but this doesn't look that bad for Switch.
Now, this will not probably match up to Obsidian's South Park.
No.
Very cool.
Kate actually wants to play that, so
It's really good.
Yeah.
I beat both of them.
I mean the
So good.
this
Oh, that one.
yeah.
Now, this is Ghost Trick Phantom Detective coming to Android. Now, I believe this has been on console before, and believe it or not, like on console, I think it's still like $39.99, but it's going to be free to play on mobile with in-app purchases.
Gotta love those microtransactions.
And
Hey there, I am Carrie
this is Open Roads coming to PS4 and 5, Xbox One, Series X and S, Switch and PC for $19.99 this Thursday.
The Open Road.
I voice Opal.
So I'm
alongside the
wondering,
talented
so
Caitlin Deaver, who voices my
style
daughter
is
Tess.
interesting.
Together we embark on a mesmerizing
I
road
do like
trip
the style.
where
It's a little
mysteries and
inconsistent,
stories long buried come to life.
but
Yeah.
it's
Was this
still pretty cool.
was this taken right here? Mm-hmm. Probably.
It seems
only a year
to
after I died.
It's a game about
shift.
revealing the truths we've been searching
Like,
for,
I
as
think
well
they
as the profound
rotoscoped some
bond
of it,
between mother and daughter.
and
It's
because
not a
it's in
dead
a
end.
3D
You just have to
space,
get out and
maybe.
walk.
Maybe that's what's
Where,
throwing me off. I
Tess?
don't know.
I think it's through here. Thanks for the help, by the way. Look, I know you're upset. We both are.
Is Annapurna?
Very cool.
Let's just
Yeah,
get in.
but I am very
See what
interested.
we can find and get out.
This is cool.
Yeah, this is a 3-bit game all the way, bro.
Get ready for
Yep.
a heartfelt adventure like no other.
For sure.
As we navigate through
I love
a web of
Annapurna,
mysteries,
and I
emotions,
love
and open
these type
roads.
games.
Hey, Mom. I was thinking about something. I wonder what Grandma would say about all this.
That girl who's talking, what was she on?
Good
She looks really
question.
familiar. That
What do you
actress.
think?
You can all hit the road.
Is
Her.
that Carrie
February
Russell?
2024,
Is that her
when
name?
Open Roads launches
Yes, I
on
don't
PC.
know.
I think so, yeah.
I think it's Carrie Russell.
Carrie Russell.
I could write it wrong.
Peggy 12.
Very cool.
Yeah, I think it's Carrie
Well,
Russell.
All right.
I've woken up in worse places.
All right, this is Outward coming to the Switch this Thursday for $39.99.
Right. Time for some breakfast. I'm
This is
famished.
the definitive.
I should make mention this is the definitive edition.
And she's been in a
Yeah.
ton of shit. Like, I mean,
But
just
then
wait.
again, couldn't we all?
What do I know her from? What's her like her
Okay,
thing?
so
The world
I'll say
doesn't owe
known
you
for
anything.
Mission Impossible 3,
As long as
Waitress,
you've got
Felicity, Dawn of the
No
Planet of the
limitations.
Apes.
You
Yeah.
can face the world.
Mission Impossible. That's how I know.
She was in
That's
Free State of
where you
Jones,
are,
which is a good
and
movie.
whatever
She
the
was in Rise of Skywalker,
Places to go.
Cocaine Bear,
see.
Dark Skies.
Although the scourge hasn't exactly.
That reminds me. I still haven't seen the latest Mission Impossible.
Take the Sorabo
Completely forgot
Academy.
about it.
She was the voice of Wonder Woman in the in an animated thing.
Dangerous creatures.
Bedtime
But there's
Stories with
beauty
Adam
here too. At least
Scrubs.
viewed from a
Right.
safe distance.
show.
The Three
Okay,
Brothers.
okay.
Yeah.
Active volcano
Yeah,
in
so
the city
I
of
probably know from
Sorabo.
Scrubs and
Stunning.
She was Felicity, like that's her most famous role, I think. It was a big show that was on in the late 90s, early
I'll
2000s.
be better
Mhm.
equipped as I need to roll up my sleeves
yeah.
and
Magnum
help
says, is she
rebuild
Kurt
the
Russell's
city.
daughter?
Okay,
Is there any
I'm ready to
relation
go.
to the Russell name? Probably not.
I just
right?
hope tonight's campsite is as good as this one.
That would be crazy.
What was this game again? Because I haven't been paying attention.
Oh, it's Outward. Wait, let me make sure. Outward coming to Switch, $39.99.
Right on.
The
Is it like a
definitive
is it a
edition.
survival game?
Kinda, yeah. All right, this one is Pepper Grinder coming to Switch and PC for $14.99.
Ooh.
Parents are not Kurt Russell, so I don't know if she has any relation, but it's not. It doesn't say on IMDb that any relation to Kurt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, very famous actor. Yeah, The Americans. She was in The Americans also.
Oh yeah. I always wanted to check that show out. I forgot what it was on. It's like
This-
an FX show or something.
That looks like the graphic style, art style of Dave the Diver a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm digging this.
It's Pepper Grinder, Switch and PC
Mhm.
for $15.
Yep. Devolver.
Now this is brand new, like it's not like being re-released on the Switch or whatever.
I think it's brand new, Switch and PC.
Yeah, I think it's brand new.
I'm not getting no Switch, or I have a Switch, but I don't want to play on it.
Oh my God, the guys, the PSVR 2 is getting a game.
Yeah, this is Madison. Yeah, PSVR 2 coming this Friday for $39.99.
Here we go. Watch out, there's a roach. Dude, there's a roach. It's about to crawl in your hand, bro. Move.
Ugh.
Aw.
Hate
Ew,
roaches.
no, ew.
Disgusting. Why isn't he moving?
Okay, somebody. Ooh,
Oh,
ooh.
owie. Oh, shit.
Oh.
Oh, my fingers. My finger actually physically, I felt that in my hand.
Ow. Ugh.
He's going to be okay.
Bloody.
I always think of the Blair Witch Project. Like, Josh, where you at?
That sounds like Tiny Tim singing.
Good job. That definitely freaked me out a little bit.
I'll tiptoe
Yeah.
through the window, through the I'll tiptoe through the window tonight.
And that is it, unless I
It's
forgot again.
Insidious. That
Yeah.
I used to, after we watched Insidious, that song just fucking creeped Kate out, and we had like the Sonos speaker, right? So like, I
Oh,
probably
yeah.
like chilling outside or whatever. Like, I would go outside and chill outside for a while, and I would just like go to my Bluetooth and I would play that song just randomly, and when she's like in the kitchen or something, and it just fucking freak her out so much, man. It'd be amazing. All
Yeah, I
right.
could do that.
Well, this was a fun show, guys. Thanks for hanging out tonight here on FSP. This chat was absolutely amazing, and you guys, obviously in the chat, always help make the show go. And appreciate all the support. And if you did like it, hit that like button, share it out, sub the channel, notification bell, all that cool stuff. Greatly helps us grow. All right, let's tell everybody where they can find our awesome panel. If Psycho's not here, but you can find him on Psychonauts8 on X. But hey, Fuzz, what about you?
Awesome being here with you guys. Always love talking games or ranting about games here and there. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Greatly appreciate you guys showing up and checking us out, interacting with us. We greatly appreciate it. Hit the like and subscribe if you haven't already. And for those that want to hear my rambles and rants on anything gaming related, just follow me on Twitter or the app formerly known as Twitter at fuzzy_Belvedere. You can also find me on the next podcast will be Breakfast with Boom, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Friday morning. And then right back here for Xbox Ultimate at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on this channel. Hope to see you there.
Right on, bro. Appreciate you as always, Fuzzy Belvedere. And what about you, 3-Bit?
Yeah, everyone can find me on Twitter at i3bit for those who I haven't blocked. For YouTube, you guys can find me on Pixelated Echoes. We do a show, me and Fuzzy here, and Mavs. He's been popping up every now and then, which I appreciate. We had a fun show last time with the Black Viking, and before that was King. So we're trying to do something cool this Sunday. We'll see, but it might just just tune in, find out. Pixelated Echoes Sunday. We return Sunday at regular time, 8 p.m. So go check us out. And let's close it out. Mav, where can people find you, good sir?
Oh man, thanks 3-Bit, Fuzzy, as always in chat. You guys amazing. Let's see, this week, like nothing until Thursday. So we got Thursdays PM in the PM at 7 p.m. Eastern time with Pong Soul and I. And then Friday, Xbox Ultimate Podcast at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, as always. And it's been a blast. This was episode 97. So, again, we only have 3 episodes till 100 on this one. So, it would be fun to hang out with you guys in 3 weeks for that show. So, looking forward to that. But, audio listeners, hey, I know I'm slow with getting the uploads. I'm trying to do my best, and they're going to work on it tonight and tomorrow to try and get caught up again. But I appreciate everybody for the patience there. And if you do like listen to audio, appreciate that as well. And I hope you all have a good one. Luis Jose, no Fun Pop tomorrow. We're kind of on a hiatus for Fun Pop right now. It will be back. Don't know exactly when, but I'll make sure to give people plenty of notice before we do a Fun Pop.
Got to talk about that X-Men 97 at some point.
Yeah, 100%, bro.
Yeah.
Did I tell y'all that me and Kate we are on an X-Men marathon right now?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Which movie are you guys on?
We had just finished Dark Phoenix. We're that far.
Okay.
Yeah, like
so the original Dark Phoenix, the third one, because they did Dark Phoenix twice.
Well, there's The Last Stand was, and then Dark Phoenix. So we've watched so far. This is what we watched. We watched X-Men, X-Men 2.
Yep, that's one.
Yeah, X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Oh shoot!
X-Men The Last Stand. Then we watched The Wolverine. X-Men First Class. X-Men Apocalypse, I think. Or no, X-Men Days of Future Past.
Yes, that one's great.
X-Men Apocalypse, and then X-Men Dark Phoenix.
Dang,
And
what's what?
then we're gonna have Logan. I think we're watching Logan tonight.
Ooh.
And then we're gonna watch the New Mutants, which
I still haven't seen that.
closes out like Fox Universe's X-Men movies or mutant movies and all that kind of stuff. Then we're gonna watch Deadpool 1 and 2, and I chose those last because the new Deadpool movie's coming, and those aren't really 100% directly related to the rest of it either. But there's 13 movies in total, and we're like getting
You are very close.
Yeah, we're watching one a night, and we're also watching a show on Netflix that she's loved before, but she wanted me to watch it with her. It's called Good Girls.
Oh,
And
yeah. I watched that.
that is a fantastic show. It's about 3 women who are like just everyday mom type normal people who end up going into a life of crime. And it's just absolutely kind of crazy. So
last person you expect.
yeah, great cast in that, and great plot, and like the direction everything goes like is absolutely awesome.
They kill it.
So anyway,
But heck yeah,
maybe we'll talk about all this stuff on Fun Pop sometime. But yeah, we'll definitely need to catch up
for sure. We'll stack up the news that we're thinking about.
Absolutely. Everybody, you
For sure,
rock. Thanks for being here. Peace out. Have a good night.
Bye, y'all.